Hi, I'm Tinx, and I'm a content creator and podcast host.
I have been watching your content since the pandemic and seeing all your great advice about dating, rich moms, and so on. But, this is Forbes. So instead of talking about the business of getting ghosted, we are talking about the business of business. So you're the only creator on the Forbes top creators list that attended Stanford and has a master's degree. What were you planning on doing with your life before or after you graduated?
God, I've moonlit in every industry, truly. Everything from fashion to tech. I was a writer for a long time. I really did a little bit of everything before at the age of 29, finally trying content creation.
And why did you start posting on TikTok?
Well, in the pandemic, like so many of us, I was out of my mind, super bored in my studio apartment, kind of going a little stir crazy. And I thought, the world is likely coming to an end. I might as well download TikTok and give it a whirl. And from the second that I made my first video, I felt a sense of fulfillment that I had been yearning for my entire 20s. I finally had that feeling of, oh my God, this is it. And from there, it's been a very happy snowball.
So who are you posting for in those early days?
Myself, honestly. And that's one of the biggest tips that I give to people just starting out or anyone who wants content creation help is I just say, create the content that you want to see. If I wouldn't find something funny or entertaining or useful, I don't post it. And that's a good rule to live by. And I think in the beginning, I was just doing it for fun. And that really, I think, resonates with people.
Speaking of doing it for fun, we wanted to play some content from when you got your start. So
Yes.
This is you in the depths of the pandemic in your pajamas. So watching this now, how do you feel?
I mean, it's such a big departure from what I do now, but at the end of the day, it's still my humor. It's still silly. I like TikTok because it's an outlet to be silly, and I'm love to have a laugh. I love to joke around, and you know what? I was worried I was gonna really cringe pretty hard, but that one's not too bad.
Okay, well, let's talk about when you became a real viral creator. So we want to play your most viral video. This one garnered over 2 million likes, and it is a clip of you analyzing the Kardashianification of Addison Rae.
Yes.
People have been starting to say this, but maybe it's because she's hanging out with Kourtney so much. She's like being Kardashianified. She's becoming like them. This photo shoot she did reminded me a lot of this one that Kim did. I also feel like her style is changing a lot. She used to be about bright color, and now she's more dressed up, all into neutrals. She's obviously gorgeous either way. She's such a pretty girl. I guess what I'm trying to say is consider this my formal application because I too would like to be adopted by the Kardashians, except I would want Kim or Kylie, not Kourtney.
Yeah, I mean, people love Kardashian content. They really do. And that was during that whole summer when Addison was hanging out with Kourtney a lot, and we were all trying to figure out why. And I was just trying to get invited to the Kardashians' house for, a makeover myself.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is your most viral video of all time?
It's funny. It's funny what hits and what doesn't hit. And sometimes I think there's a rhyme or reason, and sometimes it's just what's current. And I think that was a big story at the time that summer was them all hanging out and Addison kind of filming the show with them and that kind of stuff. So I think it was just, having my finger on the pulse, so to speak.
So you've also got your finger on money now. Forbes is estimating that you made $11 million last year. And while we love watching you wax poetic about shrimp and rich moms and how to date boys, that's serious money. Can you talk about how you built your millennial advice into a booming business?
Yeah, I think I come at this job with a slight advantage because, like I said, I was in the corporate world before. And so I did kind of bring that business acumen, so to speak, to my job now. And it was really important for me right away to build a strategy that was long lasting because like I said, right away I knew this is my life's calling. I want to be in this job until the day I die. And so, part of that strategy is only working with brands that I completely trust and love and talk about organically. One thing that I noticed right around the time of the pandemic was audiences are smart. It's not like before where they would just accept anything that an influencer or content creator pushed them. They really want to know why they're being sold something. And so for me, really, really sticking to my guns on what products and brands I partner with has been a core part of that strategy.
And so break down your money. Like what are your main sources of income? Can you walk us through that?
I work with brands on long-term brand deals. And then I have my podcast and my radio show. And I have a pretty new merch business that I started a line called Rich Mom Gear. And those are the three main streams.
You're not the only person giving advice on TikTok though, but you are one of the few advice givers who has 1.5 million followers. Why you?
I feel very lucky to be let into my community's lives in the way that they let me in. I try to pass on what I've learned. I've tried to pass on what has helped me. And I think that people who love to give advice also love to get advice. And I do love to get advice, whether I'm asking someone that I respect or trust, or I'm getting it from a book. So I think it's, two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, people really care about what you're doing. And you recently came under fire for some of that. So there were some old tweets that were unearthed where you fat shamed Kim Kardashian, people at Coachella, and some other things that were labeled misogynistic. Later, you apologized, post-apology, and with people considering this as they consider the Tinx the personal brand, how has this impacted your career?
I always say that, if you're not cringing at yourself a year ago, you're not growing fast enough. And I obviously more than cringe at those old tweets who don't represent at all who I am anymore. And, I try to find the silver lining in everything. And I hope that the silver lining here is to show people that you can make mistakes, you can grow and evolve, and you can own them and move on gracefully. And I think that we all need to do a little bit more of that, of owning and growing in public. Nobody is perfect. And I say that all the time. I'm far from perfect. So I hope, if anything, people can learn from my mistakes. And I've certainly grown from the experience and moved on.
And you've also engaged with some political content, pro-Trump, pro-Boris Johnson, anti-lockdown stuff. And you didn't really apologize for that. Talk a little bit about that. How has that impacted your business and your relationship to your followers?
I'm very honest with my followers. I said a million times I never voted Republican, let alone for Donald Trump. At the time when I had liked those tweets, it was March of 2020. I was, like so many people, sitting on my couch, drinking a glass of wine, scrolling on Twitter mindlessly, not thinking. So I shouldn't have liked those tweets, and I did apologize, and like I said, it was kind of a mindless moment that ended up being quite a big thing. But I'm honest with my followers, and I set the record straight. And what can you do apart from apologize and move forward?
Yeah. So you do seem to spend a lot of time engaging with your followers,
Yes.
Whether it's advising a girl who wants to date a hot, jobless guy in his 30s or someone who has been cheated on by their husband. How has that relationship with your followers helped you build your brand?
Well, I mean, my followers are the most important relationship I have, to be honest with you. And I think that I absolutely love spending time with them. I always say spending time with them, in my DMs or on my Ask Me Anythings or on my radio show. It's good quality time. And if you wake up every day for 2.5 years and spend 10 hours on your phone, you're going to be pretty close to people. And I do feel really close to them as a whole.
You've only been a professional TikToker for about 2 years, but in that time, you've grown up a lot. We're gonna play a TikTok video that shows what I'm talking about.
My impression of a girl's trip in your 20s. Guys, wake up. We've been drinking rosé for like an hour already. This week, I went to an orgy with a guy that I met at yoga. Let's lay out topless by the pool. I gotta give you my dealer's number. He will change your life. Ready? This week, I went to an orgy with a guy that I met at yoga. Let's lay out topless by the pool. I gotta give you my dealer's number. He will change your life.
Yeah, so you're making content on TikTok that is aimed at 30-year-olds. How do you continue to attract new fans while retaining your existing base and honor your professional and personal growth?
You know, I really just go back to creating the content that I want to see. So it's wherever I am in my life. And right now I'm over the 30 hill and just kind of adjusting to the new life and a new era and a new decade, but I still, you know, have my party days and I you know, vlog about that too and talk about that too. So I really just go back to what I want to see. I create what I want to see and you know, I'm so lucky that so many of my followers are with me from the beginning and I'm also very, very blessed and lucky to have new ones coming in every day.
Yeah, and you know, we're talking a lot about followers' authenticity and being yourself. You now have 1.5 million followers on TikTok. Do you think that, and we talked about controversy that's surrounding you, do you think that anyone who is really big like you can really truly be themselves and not face controversy?
Well, people are certainly making it difficult for anybody to do it without controversy. But no, look, I mean, I think that, you know, I understand why people change when they get in the public eye. I understand why people shut down. I understand why creators, you know, say I'm leaving the internet because it can be exhausting. I mean, trolls are really, it's can be hurtful and relentless. So I totally get it. That being said, I'm doing my utmost to be myself and continue to show up every day in the best way that I know how. But yeah, I mean, it's impossible not to feel that pressure.
Right. And every creator that I talk to seems to say, be authentic, be yourself.
Yeah.
But you really do that to an extreme. Like a lot of your content, like content that you posted this morning, is in a bathrobe, in a towel, with your phone above your face as you're lying in bed. It almost seems like you're exaggerating it. Talk a little bit about that aesthetic choice.
I truly wish that I was exaggerating it. I've always kind of been like a little bit of an I Love Lucy walking circus. So I think that does translate really well to social media. But yeah, I mean, I like to show the highs and the lows. Like I like to show the glam moments, but I want people to realize that you don't have that without the bathrobe moment, and you don't have, you know, the beautiful picture without the glam team, and you don't have, you know, the highs and lows. It's a mix.
Well, it's clearly working for you, as you know, you're making a lot of money. So I want to close here with your thoughts on the future.
I'm just so excited. I'm really, really so excited. You know, my podcast and radio show is still pretty new, and I literally hate when influencers say this, but I am working on a couple of special projects for next year that I'm very, very excited about.
Well, we'll have to stay tuned to that. But I also want to talk about the economic climate. So, you know, it's not great, right?
Yeah.
We might be heading into a recession. What do you think that means for your business and the business of Influence?
Well, I think it means that, you know, people are going to have less disposable income, I mean, at the very least. And so that means that content creators, influencers, curators, whatever you want to call them, need to be even more diligent at their job and really think, you know, what are these products that I'm helping sell today? What space am I taking up in people's lives? I think for me, I always try to be a place that people can come to for a little bit of respite, you know, and have a laugh and have a joke and just take their mind off of things for a little bit. Not to say that I don't touch on you know, what's going on in the world and important issues, but I really like to keep my page pretty light and fun. So if I can do that through these upcoming times, then that will be my very, 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 very small contribution.
How has social media changed your life?
I mean, it saved my life in a lot of ways. I really felt so lost when I found it. I didn't feel like I had found my thing, and I always was one of those people who wanted to love their job and really, really, I like to work. So I was always frustrated trying all these different career paths that didn't feel like the thing. So I mean, it's changed everything about my life. And just, I feel very lucky to have had it come into my life when it did, when I was almost 30. And now I can safely say that I love my job, which is a very cool thing that I'm grateful for.
And one last question. You have built this amazing following. I mean, like I said, I'm 28 and I know a lot of people who are very obsessed with you. So how do you do that in such a short amount of time? Can you give advice to aspiring Tinxes?
I would say create the content that you want to see and be consistent. You know, consistency is such a boring thing to talk about, but it really does help build, you know, not only your rapport with your audience, but also it's good to get in the habit of doing something consistently if you want to make it your life. So two kind of boring but very, very useful tips if done consistently.